Joining me now is the former DIA intelligence officer and author of Putin's Playbook, Rebekah Koffler. She joins me in studio here. Also with us is both former U.S. ambassador to NATO and special representative for Ukraine, Ambassador Kurt Volker. Thank you so much both for being here. Let's begin with this breaking news here out of the Israeli government reporting that intel they hear about this United Arab Emirates, that they located the body of an Israeli dual national rabbi who'd been missing since Thursday. Zach just went through that. The Israeli government is calling this a criminal anti-Semitic terrorist incident. Ambassador Volker, what's your reaction to this and how does it change the situation there?
Well, I don't think it changes it fundamentally, but I think that there's one thing that's going to occur from this. It's going to reinforce the UAE's own frustrations and irritations with Iran. That something like this would happen on UAE territory is not at all what they would want. As far as the remainder of the war in the Middle East goes, though, I think we are in a very dangerous period where Iran is going to try to see what it can get away with in the final months of the Biden administration, knowing that Trump is going to come in and going to be holding Iran accountable for things that they do going forward. So we may likely see some escalation from Iran and their proxies in the next couple of weeks or months.
And Rebekah, Israel is maintaining its focus here. It's hitting key targets of Hezbollah forces in Lebanon, but Netanyahu is also dealing with the arrest warrants issued by the International Criminal Court. What's your reaction to all of this?
It's absolutely absurd and irresponsible, John. The International Criminal Court pretty much equates Benjamin Netanyahu with Russia's President Putin, who has authorized assassinations and is waging brutal war on Ukraine. So basically, it's just complicated. It makes Israel's job so much harder to achieve their goal, to remove that existential threat to their nation.
Right. And Ambassador Volker, I want to get your reaction to this. President-elect Trump, his nominee for ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, had this to say about the matter. Watch this.
I was outraged. It's just one of the most ridiculous and irrational things. But the ICC is a joke. But it's a bad joke. And the tragedy is it's not funny. And it's not funny because they are playing with absolute fire. And I don't understand these idiots who put more pressure on Israel to have a ceasefire with barbarians than they do on the barbarians to let those hostages go.
Ambassador Volker, do you agree with him? What's your reaction to his comments there?
Well, I agree. I think there is an incredible double standard that's always applied to Israel. Israel actually does exercise restraint as best it can, but it is facing people who are constantly attacking. And we have constantly, over the past year, underplayed the importance of Hamas holding American hostages as well as Israeli hostages. Rather than telling Israel to exercise restraint and have a ceasefire, we should be working with Israel to go in and get those hostages out.
I want to switch gears here real quickly, talk about Russia and Ukraine, the situation going on there. I mean, it's now at more than 1,000 days. Rebekah, Russia President Vladimir Putin, he launched a hypersonic intermediate range ballistic missile at Ukraine in response to the U.S. allowing Ukraine the ability to now launch advanced Western weapons into Russian territory. Putin says that this attack was a warning to the reckless Western nations. Your thoughts on where this situation goes?
Well, what President Biden has done, John, he is actually walking us into war with Russia that is potentially going to turn nuclear. Why am I saying this? Because back in the intelligence community, we war gamed this multiple times. And every single time, because of the nature of conflict, the new generation warfare that Putin has planned, he's been planning it for 20 years, ever he has become president, because Ukraine, as President Trump says, is the apple of his eyes, right? So the nature of this war, there's an escalation ladder, and we're officially now on the next level on that ladder. And Putin said that the United States is de facto now at war with Russia. Why is that? It's because those ATACMS, they don't fly by themselves, obviously. And even if a Ukrainian soldier can technically push the button, it's still the actual targeting of the weapon to make sure that the missile flies in the right trajectory, hits the right target, it's the right battle damage achieved. That has to be done by U.S. personnel, at minimum, and NATO personnel. So that is how the Russians are looking at this war, and this is exactly why Putin fired this IRBM, but it's semantics. The thing, that missile, Oreshnik, it actually feels and smells like an ICBM, which is designed to wage nuclear war. That is a warning because the missile is dual capable, conventional or nuclear payload. So Putin just said to us, okay, today it's conventional, tomorrow it could be a nuclear payload. That's where we are at. That's where President Biden just walked us into. Real quickly before we let you go, I just want to ask, I mean, we've got to get through the next 60 days here before Trump gets into office. Is it possible that we're going to be able to do that? And is Trump going to be the person that negotiates a deal here? I am praying that it is possible that in this 60 days we're not in the nuclear war, because imagine a senile man. It's already clear to everybody that Joe Biden is cognitively impaired. And he's the person who technically, his finger could be a nuclear button, right? And regardless that it might be better and bigger than someone else's, but this man is impaired and he may not push it at the right time or not push it at all. So Trump, I'm hoping that right now there are back channels, communications between President Trump's team and the Russians' team, and that's a good thing to talk to your adversary, and hopefully he can get Putin, he can manipulate him into holding off. But it very much depends on what President Biden does. If Biden keeps climbing that proverbial escalation ladder, then we're in big trouble. We will wait to see how this all plays out. Thank you so much for coming in studio. I appreciate it. Rebekah Koffler, as well as Ambassador Kurt Volkl, thank you so much for your insight as well. We have to go. Stay